Okay, in this first tutorial, I'm going to outline what your investigation is going to be about and give you some guidance about formulating a title and an aim for this investigation. What I'd like you to do is make sure that any work you do that you type up is done in this Google Doc that goes in this assignment. You'll find that it's blank at the moment, and that you put all of your work in here as you complete each of the sections. And obviously you will hopefully have already opened up the instruction document which outlines the key tasks that you're doing. So the purpose of doing this investigation, and this is quite an important step, is that you are going to have to do your own geography investigation. And that is going to start with an idea, which is then going to develop into a piece of research, and then it's going to be put together in a very structured manner as a large report that you write. And that's all going to be done independently. So what we're doing here is just a mini version of that. And we're going to do it not just independently, you can do it in a group of as many as you choose. In your group, you might choose to collaborate with each other in the write-up. That's entirely acceptable if that's what you choose to do. Or you can write, everything you write can be done completely independently, even though you may be choosing to discuss these ideas within your group. And I would certainly suggest that all along the way you do discuss each of these steps with your group. It will give you some independence and some of the decision makings, and we will actually do a field trip. We are going to be doing a field trip to St Andrews to enable us to gather data, although actually we could gather data anywhere because we're not actually interested in St Andrews. We're interested in studying something geographic, and we're using St Andrews as the location which we're going to do it in. But it could actually be done in Crieff or anywhere else. And I will assess it at the end when you complete it using the same rubric, which is the same mark scheme as the examiners will be using for your own report, your own project, I should say, when it gets submitted next April, May. I've said here that it's quite important to bear in mind that any evidence you generate throughout this year is evidence that we can use potentially should you miss an exam or should the exam not happen as happened in 2020. But we gather evidence across the year in a variety of different ways, and this is an assessed piece of work, therefore it is reflective of your ability. So it will be marked, and that mark will generate an overall picture along with other things we do in the course. Okay. Let's just start with what's the main aim. Now, some people start with a title, but actually you need an aim before you write the title, even though the aim appears after the title. And we are investigating something. So the first thing you're going to have to consider is write down your aim and then make your title reflect your aim. So we're thinking about traffic, how traffic varies in an urban area. And across an urban area, because there are always variations in traffic in every urban area that we go to. And then how that variation is influencing people's well-being. Now that requires us needing two bits of data. We are going to need traffic data, preferably traffic data that is going to allow us to see variation. And from those locations where we gather our traffic data, we are going to attempt to try to get some survey-based data from people or something that is going to allow us to determine well-being, which may or may not be a survey with people. There are other ways that we could infer well-being. So for example, if we were taking noise, recording noise levels, then we could infer that noisy areas would be likely to be more harmful to people and make them less happy. But we are going to have to figure out a way later on how to actually gather well-being data, what we're going to define as people's well-being. So think about what your aim is. What are you trying to prove in this investigation? Are you trying to prove that traffic has an influence over people's well-being and that you're wanting to see how that varies? You have to think about actually the wording of the aim. The wording is really critical because the wording of your aim shapes your entire study. And obviously in your aim, as well as your title, you should include the fact that this is going to be an investigation conducted in St Andrews, but this isn't a traffic study of St Andrews or the well-being of St Andrews. This just happens to be that St Andrews is the place that you are conducting your study. So that's me done for this introduction, and what you should now do is discuss in your group this part number 1, and when you've typed up your aim, then put your title above it, and then move on to task number 2.